Welcome to the Totally Awesome Fishing Show. This is a tackle tip, this one. You know, there's nothing I like better than A, getting something for nothing, and B, going out and catching a fish with it. So I'm looking at tackle that's salvageable, that other people have thrown out and considered is completely useless. Brilliant. Throw it my way, guys. You can generally repair it. Now, I took a load of garden refuse over to our garden refuse disposal site, usual dump we call it, and they have this little shed area that they sell stuff on when people, you know, get rid of it. And I always look in there because you never know what you might find out there. Tools, anything. Somebody thrown some fishing tackle away. I thought, oh, okay, obviously the rod snapped. No, the rod was there. I've been out fishing with it off the beach. Already caught a load of whiting with it. It's got a decent reel with it, okay. It's called, I'll put my binoculars on just so you know, this is a gentleman that threw it away. It is a Skyliner, just like IBC spod rod, say. So it's used for casting out for carp fish, for throwing out those big bait dropper things called spods, in case anybody abroad says, what's a spod rod? I've had to use it with tape around it, right? Because the winch fitting, all that was wrong with this was a busted winch fitting. For some reason, it's best known to the guy who had it before he dumped it. He just broke it. So let me cut this off and show you how he repaired it and why it didn't work. And also how easy it is to repair stuff. And wait till you hear the price it cost me. Now, the reason I actually taped it on was because when I was using it in the night, I was winding on some whiting and it fell off totally. I thought, oh dear, this could be making life difficult for the evening. So luckily, as I always carry some electrical stretch tape around, insulation tape, I got away with taping it on just to last that session. But I'm now going to repair it properly because having caught fish and cast with it, do you know, the blank itself, there is absolutely nothing wrong with this rod whatsoever. It cast about 120 yards. Well, it would do, it's a spod rod. Now the guy who'd repaired it, what he'd had up here was, let's call those, let me take it off for you, it's much easier if I take it off. Most reel seats are going to have what we call a hood, which is, if you can see that there, just here, there's a hood into which the reel seat slides, you know, the leg of it, the foot goes in there. This one at the front, right, was a fixed one, and the screw winch fitting here pushes up here and locks it into place. So it actually worked like this, with that front reel seat going up under the plastic, polypropylene, whatever this material was made of, up under there, and then the back one screwed up like this. A lot of different reel seats, but this is traditional one, and it screwed that, you know, pushing it up under here. Obviously, because the guy might have been cast a long way, he's really ground this on, he's really screwed it up as tight as he can, which of course, around plastic around here, it's burst it and broke it. So I mean, there's absolutely no need to do that. All it has to do is support the reel, because you're casting like that, don't forget, and you've got your fingers around the outside of the actual reel stem here, the leg as well. So there's no need. So it's a little tip, guys. If you've got like a plastic or moulded part of the rod in here, if you've got a metal hood, fine, that's great. That can take a lot more pressure. If you've got one of those at this end, this one obviously didn't have. Anyhow, what he's trying to repair it with is, it looks like some resin, 2-part epoxy resin, you know, like araldite or something like that. Well, that's fine. You know, it's good for gluing stuff, but it obviously what it does is get very brittle, and you can see it's broken away totally there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this all off here, if I can, and replace it with another fitting like that. It can be one of these 3 fittings, should fit, but failing that, you can get some things called coast locks, and I'll show you how those work as well. Now, a lot of fittings, including say butt caps, end caps, winch fittings, are glued on with stuff like araldite, 2-part epoxy mixes like resins. To get them off, if you had say a tip ring that you need to replace, a lot of guys out there know this, if you warm it either with a lighter or gently over the gas, gently over a low gas, you soften it, it will soften, you can work away and you can actually get it off. Now, I don't think I'm going to get this off any way other than hacksawing it, splitting it down here and just working away at that, trying to get it off. I'm not going to put the whole thing over my gas cooker because the wife will not be happy with the smell. But this has got to come off. Once I've got that off, I can see what the blank's like, and I think what you would normally be doing is, if it's a tapered blank, a lot of blanks are tapered, that's thin at the top and fatter, you know, down towards the butt, you can't obviously get a winch fitting up over the fat end. So you have to put it in, or over the top, from the thin end. So if you have to do that with this rod, and I don't yet think I will have to, this large butt ring here, I can cut that off gently with a you know, like a box cutter, a Stanley knife, cut that epoxy off, take the ring off, slide the whole fitting down to the required area, probably about where it is there. Then I will pack it and bind it on and re-whip the ring, you know, that butt ring here, using thread. So you can get round it that way, but I feel, just looking at this, it's a very, very slow taper. It might even get to about here and be a level taper. So I'm going to try, if I can, to remove this and try and replace it and see if I can get away with salvaging this rod, because I know there's nothing wrong with it except that broken piece where the guys ground that fitting up too hard and snapped it. Let's crack on, see how far we get. Okay, I don't know whether you're going to see this, guys, but from the back, I screwed it right down the back end here, which was there. If you remember, we had the winch fitting on there, and it had a little locking plastic collar at the back. So what I do to get these off, I gently, very carefully, with a fine tooth junior hacksaw blade, just cut a spiral around there, and then I can get my screwdriver in here, lever it out, get a pair of long nose pliers, and you bend it out and it peels off. When that's off, you give this one a tap and that slides like this right down over the end of the butt. It's gone, it's rubbish. But let me just show you what I do at the top end. I scrape all the old whipping off here. I do that spiral cut. You should just be able to see it all the way there, gently just through the plastic, not through the blank, not through the blank. Just enough to get a screwdriver lever in there like this, and you can lever that out. And I just want to show you, that's loose under there. You can see that, and I'm going to bend that with my finger, hopefully not spiking myself. And you can see underneath there, there is the packing of masking tape, which is what we used to use years ago, because obviously any winch fitting, any screw winch fitting like this, any real fitting, is not necessarily going to be the exact internal and external diameter as the blank. They're going to match up totally because you need space for the glue. Now this one doesn't in fact have a great deal of glue in it, you can see, because this should be glued to that. But it also had a metal collar at the front here, like this, tapered collar. So I just gently cut through that, as you can see, at an angle, and I get the screwdriver blade on it and I can bend it out and get rid of that as well. In fact, I should close it up, I think, and put it on eBay, or put it through my nose as a nose piercing, £52.50, that'd be even better. Go and buy myself a fishing reel with that. So you can see here now, I'm able to peel this all the way around this plastic fitting, because that's what they are, and it snaps off, and then you can just keep doing that spiral cut down there, I've already done it. Get rid of all this old arrow die, but do not go into the blank. When you make the cut, you just barely want to just get through there. So you can get your screwdriver in there. Should be able to see this. There, I can see it moving already. So I can actually see that old winch fit in there. You should be able to see that. That's where it's going to come away. Do not force that over, because this tip of the screwdriver will punch through the blank. You've got to do this in sections, and that's why I do it in a spiral cut. We soldier on and see if we can't get all this, and just look at all this gunk that guy put over there. There's no way that was ever going to hold a fishing reel on there. But hey ho, he tried. I'm going to try, and mine will work, he says, hopefully. Right, I've got the winch fitting off there, as you can see. Now there, you should be able to just see the two bits of tape, but this winch fitting actually had what looks like a reinforcing or a packing sleeve, or probably further fiberglass put up there. So that's not bad. But what I have got lucky with is that this tube does appear to be parallel. So you can either put a fixed winch fitting on there, or you can go for what the other beach fishing guys do this as well. Bear in mind, I use this one for beach fishing as well. I can use it for anything, pike, carp. Are these coasters, and they just screw up and they clamp the reel in here. Put them on the fitting just like this. Now these they're adjustable. Just in case you want to know, they can screw right up like this, and they can hold the reel. You can move it up, down, wherever you want for your placement. I'm not going to use those because I know pretty well that a winch fitting is going to hold this nice and tight. I've got 3 here. Obviously you want the screw thread at the bottom from the butt upwards. That one, no, that's not going to go at all. I might get lucky, that's too small. And number 3 is perfect. So that's going to go over there, and I'm going to glue it in position there. Generally, when you're casting, if you're going, so I did want to use this spot block for beach fishing, and I want to use it with a small multiplier or a big fixed ball, I would put the rod butt underneath my armpit here, stretch my right arm forward like that, and that's where I want to put my thumb on a multiplier for casting like this. That's the general average measurement for that. So this, in fact, if you look, if I want to do it for sea fishing, I'd have the winch fitting further forward, but I'm going to use it, I'll leave it for the carp and pike and that sort of stuff, and I'm going to drop it back over the existing fitting. Now, it's loose, as you can see it's wobbly and loose. Now that's no good, I could have put tons and tons of glue under there. So I'm going to build up those 2 parts there, exactly the same as they've done there, using masking tape as a packer, and it just rests on top there. I can still get the glue in the middle to hold it. So I'm going to pack this up, and then we're going to do a test on it, see if it fits. Once you start winding that masking tape around the rod blank, if you put too much on, you can easily just unroll a couple of turns until you get it the right size, right diameter, so it just fits snugly inside the central diameter there. And then all you do is put the winch fitting back over, hold it with your thumbnail, get the other thumbnail so you know where the outside edge of the other end of the winch fitting is, and again you pack it. As you can see, it's a different size winch fitting than the one that was on. It's much stronger, this one, and that will certainly hold a fishing reel on there and it will not move. And again, you just build it all up till it's right size. Well, that's got that nice and tight there now, and as you can see, if I slide it over, it just fits snugly over the top of that first one, goes up to the second one, and it allows me to put glue up this side, on the other side, inside here, outside there. But you've obviously got to make sure your rings are lined up there. I'm going to be using a regular, like a 2-part mix of glue, that's just our old. You can use rapid or you can use a longer setting one, doesn't really make any difference, you know. Generally this doesn't move. And then I'm just going to cover this and build this up with some whipping, make it a bit neater. Now I could put a piece of foregrip on there. I'm not sure yet whether I'm going to put a piece of cork on there. Have to decide, but it's got to go on before I glue. If I'm going to slide some cork up over the top there now, I need to be thinking about it at this stage. Trouble is, it's got a little bit of logo there. Would I actually use it? When I'm casting like that, I'm pulling like this, I probably would not. I wouldn't mind a little bit up there, but do you know what? We just have to suck it and see, because at the end of the day, it's just an aesthetic thing. It's more for decoration and use. Just finishes the rod off though. Let's get this set up, see if we can get it finished. Well people, I got to thinking about, do I want to put a little foregrip up? Do I want to put a little butt grip on? Do I want to put another piece of cork on there? Now cork's pretty old school, and I'm pretty old. Do I like cork? I do like cork actually. So what I've done, I'm still retaining the winch fitting, but I've got a piece of cork there. I had a load of scrap cork left over. What a good job I kept it. I've had it 30 years at least. I've packed it out there with the same masking tape. That's where the winch fitting is going to go. I've tapered the ends a bit. I can just butt that up against here. I've got the same here. You can just see a nice short bit, so it's nice and comfortable to hold the rod. And because cork is warm, I don't like these modern rods that don't have a nice piece of traditional cork. And I'm afraid I cut it off. I've thrown it away now. Nice piece of rubbery Duplon or whatever it was, Hypalon on the butt. I've cut it off and I've managed to just squeeze over the top on that gap a nice butt grip there for, you know, holding on and casting. I'm going to glue that in place with Araldite, and I'm going to rotate the fitting with the reel on it and make sure I'm absolutely plumb for when that sets. But I think I'm going to be, hopefully, as you can see, hopefully going to be pleased with that. Right, I've got a bit gunky, but you can see I've got it all set up now. I can just put my thumb on the glue. Hopeless. I've got glue, and down at the butt. The butt's easy because that doesn't matter. These two at the front here need to be butted up against a section of the winch fitting, but more important, I need to, if you can see that way, just leave this. I'll put the reel on there to give me a bit of leverage so I can see exactly when that fitting twists around So looking down it like that, I can see it's absolutely dead straight. Now when that's dead straight, let me come around this side. When that is dead straight like that, down to the butt ring, and I'm sort of imagining it, so I can come over just a tad more, the weight of that reel. I can imagine that in the rod rest. In fact, if you just balance them on a finger like that, you can see that rod ring, the butt ring, is just slightly out. Well, while this glue's still wet, I can just tease it over until I see that the weight of the reel balances the winch fitting perfectly. I'll tell you what that'll do for me. Now, just very carefully and gently ease those corks. Just give them a little twist while you do it. Up against the fitting here. That's all going to set there. I can put a little butt whipping above that in a minute. Well, in a minute I might even do that in say 2 hours. I don't think it dries in a minute. I think 2 hours is a rapid dry one. And this should be set, and that should be set, and I can butt whip there if I want. So there you go. That gives you an idea of what it looks like, and we'll take a look at that in the morning when it's all set. And I just hope that the wife doesn't come in and move it during the evening and I come in and it's all crooked in the morning. Yes, it has happened before. I'll put it somewhere safe. Another thing, guys, just put it where it is like this. Don't put it down, because the weight of that reel will actually twist it around and it will set crookedly. So you've got it like that, put it between two heaps of books or something, so that's how it's going to set. And obviously make sure there's no surplus to drip off underneath. This rod, believe it or not, cost me nothing from the skip, from the dump. The guy gave it to me because he said, well, it's obviously broken, you might as well take it. To be honest, the butt ring will probably cost me about £8. Okay, so the fittings and the corks, all those sections, they've all dried overnight. All that remains for me to do is I'm going to put some varnish on this just to bring it back up to, I won't say its former glory, I've no idea what its past history was. But I'm using here a matte finished furniture stain. Now you can go and buy all the rod varnish you want, but I just do all mine with either clear varnish from beach fishing or boat fishing. Now the reason I'm doing this is matte is because I do a lot of margin fishing, and although this is long distance, you can get what they call rod flash on a big glossy varnish rod on a sunny day. Sometimes you can see a guy casting out like this and you'll see a flash from 200 yards away. Now if I'm margin fishing, I don't want any fish, carp or otherwise, seeing any flash. So what I'm going to do with this one is I'm going to make it a matte finish. It's a 4-hour dry, touch dry in 4 hours, totally dry in 8 hours, just finishes it off, and then I can still long distance fish with it. Let's face it, the fish aren't going to see it 150 yards away, are they? But for close up, that matte varnish might just buy me that one extra fish. And folks, this has cost me nothing to do except a spare winch fitting I had. So there you go. Don't neglect looking up anything that might look like a damaged rod, and take a good look and see if you can repair it. But remember, the tip is, do not screw these winch fittings down. This has metal front and back, but some of them have like a moulding at the front. If you launch and grind that reel up, eventually you're going to split or crack that, and then you'll have to do this. But I'm well pleased that somebody did it, because I've got a free long distance fishing rod. It's going to be used on the beach. I see it being an excellent bass rod, good for pike, good for carp. Whoever threw it away, thank you very much, and thank you guys for watching our totally awesome fishing show tips. Keep watching.